So welcome to another episode of Fresh Perspectives, where we're going to be talking about how to create exceptional experiences for the customer. I'm here with Jeffrey Tobias. Jeffrey is our managing director. My name is Alicia Wolf, and I'm a design strategist at the Strategy Group.
How are you, Alicia?
I'm very good. How are you, Jeffrey?
Excellent, thank you.
I'm very excited to talk about this topic today.
I am too. It's so important.
I mean, what does delight look like to you?
Look, I think one of the things that all of us do is remember experiences. That's what we remember. We remember when we're on holidays, we remember when we're at work, we remember things around the family. You know, we remember experiences. And experience is really important to us. And we all have, you know, you can put experiences in two buckets, you know, bad experiences and good experiences. We remember both. And good experiences are fine, and I think, you know, the bar's now been set, Alicia, to feel that we should generally have a good experience, that we expect a good experience as the baseline. We expect a good experience from a store, we expect a good experience from customer experience on the phone. But what really is going to stand out is when we have a delightful moment, a delight moment in an experience where we are taken aback and we go, wow, that's amazing. And that will stick with us, and we'll tell 20 people about that, because we just will. And I think that's what keeps people coming back again, either the retail store, the service, or the strategy group, or whatever, that delight, that actual moment of you go, you know, surprise, emotion, all of those things in a delight moment.
How do you think that differs from customer satisfaction? Because that gets talked about a lot. Oh, satisfy the customer, meet their needs. How does delight actually go further?
You know, I was just ringing Service New South Wales to renew my car just 10 minutes ago. And it was an okay experience. Mind you, they asked me 4 times, if you want to renew your registration, press 1. And you press 1, and then they put into a different queue and say, if you want to renew your registration, press 1. And I think to myself, I pressed 1 4 times.
I'm sure I want to renew it.
You know, was that a delight moment? Absolutely not. Was it adequate? You know, I pressed the hang up button instead of the 1 button, so I have to do it all again. So, you know, I think good enough is no longer good enough. I think we want to be able to go, I don't have to love the experience, but I felt that it was hit the mark. It did what I want. So the baseline, Alicia, I think, is what you're talking about. You know, it's a good experience. We did what we expected. We achieved the goal. I think anything less than that today is a no-go. But, you know, are you now motivated to run off and ring Service New South Wales? Probably not, no.
Having delightful experiences and creating delightful experiences, that kind of makes all the difference in how you feel about Service New South Wales or in any experience. And I feel like it changes your experience from just being, it was fine, to, I have to tell someone about this, and it kind of like promotes loyalty among customers. Like they feel like, I want to return, I want to come back. This is a service I genuinely enjoy.
I'll give you an example. So, it's a very bit of a mundane example, but our internet here in the office and at home we use Aussie Broadband. Now, every time I rung Aussie Broadband with a problem, I feel that they've gone out of their way to help me and support me, to the extent where, you know, people will go, look, I'll just wait on the phone. You go do what I'm telling you to do. You make sure it works. And when you've made sure that it works, we're done. In fact, the last time this happened, I actually said to the person at the end of the phone, you should be promoted. You know, you should be promoted, I said. Is there someone I can talk to? Because he was so obliging, cared to make me get back on, explained what was happening, booked in NBA, like it all just happened. And it happened with no effort, I didn't have to repeat myself 27 times. On the contrast, I was speaking to someone the other day whose internet failed with TPG, and it took them 7 phone calls to actually get someone to understand what they were talking about, and then they had to wait 10 days for someone to come out and fix it. So you contrast the two, you know, who am I going to talk about? I'm talking to you, I'm talking to the podcast,
Yeah,
I'm talking to people out here.
Exactly.
So I think where there's a delight moment, where, you know, we're taken aback and we go, that's just amazing. You know, good enough used to be good enough. Good enough is no longer good enough.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I think.
Exactly. What emotions actually drive a memorable customer experience? What do you think that we should invoke in customers when we design an experience?
Well, I think there are a few, Alicia. You know, one is an element of surprise. You know, I didn't expect that. You know, that was different. That was like, oh gosh, okay, great, that's amazing. I think a burst of positive emotion. You know, this burst of, I feel really good. I just feel good. You know, the goodness is you know, comes over me. You know, and I think it could be pride, for example. You know, like you know, the other person making you proud in terms of what you've done. I mean, I think unless it's changed, it could be changed, but you know, I think people in the Apple Store, from what I understand, have been trained to make sure that no matter who it is, who they're talking to in the store, does not feel dumb. So even when, you know, an elderly person comes in with a very basic question on their phone, you know, where the person serving could be thinking, like, how come you don't know this? But they make sure when the person walks out that person feels good about that experience, no matter what the question is.
Yeah.
And I think there's an art to that, and a lot of it's around that sort of burst of emotion. It's around empathy. It's also around the other person delivering that experience to you to understand what's important to you and what's going to make you excited.
Yeah.
I'll give you another example. So, you know, I've been dealing with Amex for years and years and years, and a few months ago was a public holiday, and I forgot to pay my Amex bill on the day it was due. It was due on the Friday, and I only realised after 6 o'clock that it was due on Friday, and they'll only get the money on Tuesday, so there'll be some interest accrued. And I never accrued interest anyway. So on Tuesday I rang them up and I said, look, missed the payment on Friday. I know it's now Tuesday, public holiday. I'm sure there'll be interest. Is there anything you could do about that? And the lady at the other end of the phone said, first of all, they picked up my phone number, so they had my name, right? It wasn't like press 1 4 times. It was like, oh, Dr. Tobias, really nice to talk to you.
That's good.
Look, I hear what you're saying. By the way, first of all, I note that you've been a member of Amex since 1980. Thank you so much for all your loyalty to Amex. Immediately I'm going, this person's thanking me. Haven't even got to the problem yet. And they're giving me good vibes. You know, already I'm going, oh, thank you very much. Gee, I feel really, it's already an amazing experience.
Yeah.
And then she says, look, I can see that you've always paid your Amex off in time. So she's obviously done some homework while she's talking to me on her CRM. And she says, look, you've paid your Amex off all the time. If there's a $150 interest charge, I'm just going to waive it.
Yeah.
And I go away going, wow, that's amazing. Now, the question is, was she having a really good day? And out of the goodness of her heart, she's going to reach into her credit card and pay my interest. Probably not. My guess is that in Amex, they've got a process that says, if this client calls you and they've been with Amex for more than 10 years or 15 years, and the amount of money is under $200, whatever it is, waive it.
Yeah.
So is my guess. So they've probably built into their process a delightful experience.
Yeah, exactly.
By thinking what's going to delight the customer. And in the scheme of things, I've given them, hundreds of thousands of dollars over time. And what has that done to me? I'm telling you about it, I'm telling all these people about it. So all these people are going to run off and get Amex cards. So it only needs one person who doesn't have an Amex card to get the Amex card because of this story.
Exactly.
For them to get their $150 back.
Right.
So they've gone, let's think about where can we deliver those experiences. Qantas is the new CEO, right? New CEO.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel like going to that CEO and going, you really could differentiate Qantas from Virgin by some little things. Like, for example, what I don't understand is you get on the plane and everything's the same. Always. It's the same. Here's the seat, here's safety announcement, blah, 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 blah.
Like there's no Qantas branding.
Well, I remember I flew United once to the US, and I remember this always. So I get in the United flight a number of years ago, before COVID, and the pilot says, "Hi, I'm the pilot. My name is Captain Windsock." Now, you won't believe that my name is Captain Windsock, but it really is. My name is really Captain Windsock. And then he proceeded just to chat about how he got called Windsock, because that was actually his real name. And then he just talked about the flight and where we're going to fly over and, if at what time he might tell us to look out the window. And it was just a really engaging with a conversation with someone that you've put your life in their hands for the next 14 hours. Now you're lucky if the pilot says, we'll be landing in an hour, maybe, or something, and that's it. Yeah. And you think, it doesn't cost anything
to add that, like a nice touch,
It doesn't actually say, and by the way, Bill and Mary have their birthdays on the flight today. Yeah. Let's all wish Bill and Mary a happy birthday. Like, with that,
I know.
And they've got all that information, and everyone just does the same stuff. And you get on the plane, you get off the plane. Yeah. It's all very formulaic, and you go, okay, well, and hence, if we have to choose between Virgin or Qantas, we just go for the cheapest flight. I don't know, we'll take that one.
Exactly.
Because the experience or the delight moments aren't there.
The same across
They're not
the board.
there.
Yeah.
And you'd think, if I was the new CEO of Qantas, first of all, I'd be hiring the strategy group to reimagine.
Absolutely,
that's a bit of a plug. To reimagine, if you're listening, new CEO of Qantas, you should hire us to reimagine your customer experience. But it's thinking about how can we, for either little cost or no cost, build in to our processes those delight moments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you think United has actively made a decision to build a delight moment like that into their processes?
I don't know. I don't know. But for example, I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're just genuinely saying, so for example, coming back to United, I used to travel a lot to the US, and I'd get to know the people at the check-in. I really would. Hard to believe. And there was this lovely lady, I'd see her every time, and I knew her, we chatted a bit, and then when I turned up to check-in, she said, "Oh, hi, Dr. Tobias, it's really nice to see you again. Hope you have a good flight." What a delight moment.
So nice, yeah.
Out of all these people, someone bothers, one, to remember my name, and two, to greet me as I walk in.
Call it out. Yeah.
What a difference that makes to that flight.
Yeah.
And why would I go fly Qantas? And so connection's another issue.
Yeah.
I'm building this bond with Amex or with Qantas or with United or whatever. And that bond, that delight moment, means that, one, I'm going to come back, but two, I'm actually delighted to come back because I've been delighted by them. And how exciting is that versus we'll just do the same vanilla stuff over and over and over again. And you go, well, I'll try someone else.
Exactly, yeah. It's about that connection and the personalisation.
It is, absolutely. And I think everyone wants this. I mean, I think this is what everyone gets off on. Like, I'm a person. You know me. Do something special for me, and I'll give you my loyalty back.
Exactly. We know that delight moments can be built into a service, like Amex, for example.
Absolutely.
They also could be spontaneous.
They could
be something that it might just emerge naturally.
Absolutely.
How do you design, how do you promote a culture of people that know how to kind of take charge of creating delight moments, whether spontaneously or knowing when to build it into whatever project they're on or service?
I think, Alicia, you've hit on the key word, and that's culture. I think it's got to be embedded in the culture that's what we do.
Exactly.
We are here. I mean, look at our purpose. It's around changing human experiences. It's about how do as I engage with you, how can I change your experience so that you go, wow, that's interesting. I mean, there's some interesting research that says that you know how we do journey maps, right? And we do look at positives and negatives. And I mean, this, but others may not. But there's research that says that for every dollar you spend fixing a negative, right, to get it back to a level set, and you spend that same dollar giving a delight moment, you'll get 7 times return from enhancing the positive over just fixing the negative to be baseline. So if you can go, baseline's expected now, right? But as we said, good enough's not good enough. So if you can focus on those delight moments in the experience, you get 7 times more return from that client, from that customer, than just going, oh, well, this is bad, I'll make it real. So building it into the culture is essential. The word that you brought up,
culture,
Alicia, is culture, and it's absolutely essential.
I think so, yeah. No, you're right. And that example that you used about how when you put your efforts into delight rather than reactively running out and putting out fires is so key. I think so many businesses fail to see that it's like a mindset shift that has to happen. And from my experience, it's the same thing. It's you're focusing on the issues and putting out fires and you're running around with buckets of water, but you're not actually focusing on building anything. And, and it just always goes back to the baseline expectation. You're always taking it from negative to baseline, but it's never going beyond.
No, and it's like, I can't remember who it is. One of the online stores puts like a little packet of jelly beans in each box, right?
Oh.
I can't remember which one it is. But what's the cost of I know it sounds trivial, but you open the box and you get the jelly beans. And you don't expect to get the jelly beans, right? So you've got the unexpected. You've got, oh, jelly beans, that's fun. You go, why are jelly beans in this box of clothes? But next time, the evidence shows that next time, where will you probably order from that organisation? Because you think, oh, gosh, I'll get a packet of jelly beans. It sounds ridiculous, right? But it works.
Yeah, it does.
Absolutely works.
It absolutely does. I was also just thinking about another example of just delight moments from one of my colleagues, Mandy, when because we're obviously doing a lot of travel around Australia, and you misplace things along the way, and she spoke about how on the plane she left her water bottle behind, and she loved this water bottle, and she got to back on the ground, back in the airport, and she was like, oh my God, no, my favorite water bottle. And she spoke to one of the staff and they were like, oh, usually that's just done. Like
lost and found.
Lost and found. It goes into some random box. You probably never find it again. But she was like, oh no, I really love this bottle. It's whatever brand. And the member of staff was like, oh my God, I love that brand too. I understand. Let me go check for you right now. And personally went and took a look and found her water bottle and came back. And it's something simple, but it's just that feeling of like care that you
absolutely
value that.
And you know, it's a water bottle. Like
It's a water bottle.
if you had to go and buy another water bottle, her life wouldn't fall apart.
Dramatically
Right?
affected.
It's a water bottle.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what
it
it
is.
was or what it's worth. It's the fact that someone actually bothered to go. And I think they had to go through back security or something again.
It's some big
for the
process.
bottle and got the water bottle. You know, there's a story of the lost Teddy. You know the lost
Oh,
Teddy
yeah,
story?
yeah,
Can I
yeah.
tell the lost Teddy story?
It's a good
Lost
story.
Teddy, it's a good story. So, family went to on holidays somewhere in Australia, and a little girl had her teddy, and the family left the hotel, took a flight back to Sydney, and realised that the teddy wasn't there. I think they went to Alice Springs, or no, it was somewhere in Queensland anyway. So the little girl was really upset about the teddy. You know, and it was a favourite teddy. Went to bed with her at night. Like it was her teddy, and she was really upset. So the parents rang the hotel with her and said, "Look, I think my daughter left the teddy at the hotel. Could you go find her? She's really upset, you know." And the hotel went on a hunt for the teddy, and they found the teddy. Now, what they could have done is just put the teddy in a box, send the teddy home. But what they did, which I think is so amazing, they took the teddy and they put the teddy in different locations around the hotel. Like they had the teddy at the swimming pool, so they put the teddy on a reclining chair with a drink in it, sort of holding up the drink, and took a photo of it.
Yeah.
And they put a caption under it, you know, Teddy having a good time at the pool. And then they put the teddy in a party environment, and they put a caption, took a photo, and they started to send, and they rang up and they said, tell your daughter we found the teddy, but the teddy's having such a good time that she'll be back in a couple of days. And every day they sent another photo of Teddy enjoying himself or herself. I don't know what Teddy is about, you know. But Teddy enjoying himself at the pool, and then sent the teddy back. And the girl was so excited to feel that the teddy was having such a great holiday. And, you know, you can imagine the joy of that girl. Not only did she get the teddy back, now they could have just shipped it back, right?
Yeah.
But someone said, let's, you know, she was really upset. How do we turn this person from being really upset she lost a teddy to someone who's so excited because Teddy's having a really good holiday at the pool, having a party, and so what did that cost them? Nothing,
Exactly nothing.
right? 3 photos and maybe some mail or some email to the parents to give to the daughter.
Yeah,
Nothing.
it's simple.
But the impact of that, you know. So where's that parent going to stay next time when they go somewhere?
Yeah.
What are they going to tell their friends? I mean, the impact. Forget the financial benefit, but the value for the people who did it. Imagine how good they would have felt.
Yeah.
Oh, look, let's do this, Alicia. Let's take some photos of Teddy. I mean, it would have been so much fun. It would be a huge amount of
exactly. It's good for everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I love that story. I think it's a very sweet story.
It's a really sweet story.
And you can imagine that little girl like waiting for the
Next
for the
photo
5
is
days.
Teddy. I
And
mean, it'd be amazing.
exactly in that like instead of waiting 5 days, I don't know where my teddy is. Every day, Teddy's at the pool. It's very sweet. It's
sweet.
Very sweet. What do you think are simple ways to implement delight moments into their experiences? What are some simple tips?
Well, I think, first of all, what's good is map out what we call a journey map. You know, like what's the client experience here, and here, right?
Yeah.
And we do this all the time. You know this. So map out the journey map. I mean, if you take a store, you know, I walk up to the store, that's one thing. I look in the window, another thing. I walk into the store, another thing. You know, I browse around, another thing. You know, I buy something, another thing. So you map out the journey, whether it's a physical journey, a retail journey, a services, whatever the journey is, like I'm in Service New South Wales, no one's actually mapped out this person is going to press 1 4 times because they asked the same question.
Yeah.
In fact, probably a good way is someone senior actually goes for that journey. Like, because if they actually renew their car the way I did and they realise, gosh, that's not really good, someone has to press 1 4 times, but they probably, often we find people that actually don't even do it themselves, so they don't even actually know. So one, mapping out the journey.
Yep.
2, living it yourself, right, to make sure that everyone in an organisation actually lives that journey, and then start to say, okay, where could we insert some delight moments, especially where people are stressed, how we do emotional journey in our journey maps, where people are stressed, how do we not only remove the stress but delight them at the same time? I mean, travel these days is stressful. It's become more stressful more recently. Let's not go there. But, it's stressful, will I check in on time? Will they weigh my bag that I'm taking to the cabin that actually weighs 15 kilos and it's only meant to be 7?
Yeah.
Like, will I be in the middle seat? Will I have like 2, sumo wrestlers on either side of me? It's
so many things that could go wrong.
So if you go through that journey, when I walk into the terminal, through when I walk out of the terminal at the other end, and then you go stress here, then you go, okay, well. And I think it's Virgin, I think, that's sort of saying you could pay more and not get the middle seat or something. Okay, fine. But that's not that level of excitement. What you want to think about is from where I walk into the tunnel, where I walk out, I map that out and go, where could I insert delight moments that the people are going to go, oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. I think your point about the journey maps is it's key.
Yeah, because you can then put on the wall and go, well, imagine what if we did something here. What if we did something here? What if we did something here? And it doesn't have to cost anything.
Exactly. Yeah.
It can be just a word or a comment or a thank you or whatever, and it makes it. I don't want to labour the airline stuff, but you know how when you walk in the plane you got to show your boarding pass again?
Yeah.
So and it happens, where the lady or man looks at your boarding pass and says, oh, welcome, Dr. Tobias.
Yeah.
And they call you by name.
Yeah, that's
and you go,
nice.
Oh,
that's a nice touch, yeah.
Okay, they're reading my name, right?
Not just my seat
There's no
number.
magic involved. There's no magic involved, but they actually go, welcome, Dr. Tobias. Please head this way. They should say, please head this way to first class, but they don't. They say, please head this way. But just the fact that someone's actually read my name and say, welcome, Alicia, makes you feel good.
It's so small.
Makes you feel good. So small, it's a delight moment.
Yeah, it is a delight moment. Yeah. How do you think that businesses should move from being reactive to proactive when it comes to customer experience? How do they change that mindset?
Well, I think first of all, listening, not looking at just, voice of the customer stuff. I mean, it's staggering to me how many organisations say our customers' experience is fantastic because we only have 20% complaints. It's really great. We've got only got 20. Only 1/5 of the people complain.
Yeah,
it's fantastic.
It's like
And you go, okay. So you got what you're saying is 20% of your customers actually bother to complain,
pick up the phone and complain.
And there'll be another 40% that have a bad experience that aren't even going to bother to do anything because they know nothing is going to change, and they go, I could be bothered. So you've probably got 60 to 70% of your customers not happy. Is that good? So first of all, I think talking to people, like having one-on-one conversations with people. We did work with, we've done work with, just trying to think, who would be a good example? Some of the councils, and you've done work with this, local government, going out and just talking to people. Talking to residents, talking to people in the council, just understanding from their perspective. 2, actually doing the journey, and doing the journey with a mindset of, not a mindset of, that's okay, that's okay, that's good, that's good. But if I'm Bill Smith or Mary, what would delight me, what in that journey, and making sure the journey works. Pressing 1-4 times isn't working. It's not even baseline, let alone great experience. So I think, and then the third is the culture. Building
Creating
into
a culture.
people's mindset of this is what we do. We're here to delight the client. It's interesting. We did work in construction, Alicia, and you know this. With a joint venture of John Holland, CPB and Geller, who were building the tunnel on City Metro West for the next part of the metro. And, I'm not at all being disparaging to the engineering construction space, but they're not used to the word delight. It's like there's a job to be done, build a tunnel, and they're really, really, really smart people. And they're really, really lovely people, but there's a contract, right? You got a contract, you fulfill the contract. And, it was when the penny clicked with the project director, Bob DeWatney, I'll tell you who that was, really, really lovely guy. And I talked to him about delight the customer, and for a while he said, what do you mean delight? What do you mean delight? Why? I'm not here to... Then the penny dropped. And to this day, he talks about how we're here to delight our client and the changed mindset of him and the whole team around him. In fact, when we won the bid with them, someone went and bought him a huge Turkish delight and put it on his desk. And that was the delight for him, right? But their point was, you've done something different in an industry where delight normally doesn't feature. That's delightful. That's a delight moment. And they wanted to give him a delight moment back with Turkish delight because it was now in his vernacular to use the word delight. And in fact, other parts of the organisation made fun of him a bit. They said, delight, what's this delight bit? But it's true. And, so building it into the DNA and the culture is vital. And it's not difficult. It doesn't cost any more money.
Yeah, exactly. How do you think we can make sure that people in their organizations and their teams build delight into their vernacular? Do you have any tips for the audience watching? How do they make sure that it becomes top of mind and a priority? Just to wrap up everything we've discussed today, what should they keep in mind?
Look, I think firstly just understanding that good enough is not good enough anymore. The bar shifted. We talk about, what got you here won't get you there. And I think that's true. The bar shifted. People expect, the expectation is it works, right? It works. That's the expectation of it works. So if you get whatever you're doing, whether it's product or service or whatever it is, you've got to get it to a point where at least it's good enough, right? But then good enough, as I've said, is not good enough. So then you go, okay, it's not good enough to be good enough. So where's that journey map? Where's the map from, we start engaging with the client all the way through here. Or I walk through a retail store and I just watch what people do. Do they pick up the food? Do they look at the shelving? What do people do? Immersion's really good. Talking to people is really good. Trying to understand what's in their head and what their journey is. And then starting to go, well, if good enough's not good enough, what could we do? So if I come back to the Amex example, I don't know if this was built into that. I don't know. But you know what? It doesn't matter. I don't care. And so you then start to think about, okay, where could we make sure that, and not the stuff that's ingenuous. Like everyone's always talked about, in the US, like have a good day. Have a good day, have a good day, have a good day. Everyone goes, have a good day or have a good one, and I hate that.
Doesn't mean anything.
No, that's not. They're trying to be nice. That's not delightful. In fact, many times it's ingenuous. They're just saying it either because the store has said, When
Make sure you
someone
say
walks out, you have to say, have a good day. And the person's thinking, why should I wish you a good day? I don't even know you.
Yeah.
So putting aside the crap, ingenuous stuff, right? That's got to get out of the equation. Then trying to think, how do we delight? And then let's just build that into the culture.
Yeah.
Build it into, we're here to spark. I think, I really like spark joy. If I'm traveling, if I'm buying, if I'm, what in there is sparking joy? It's sparking joy. The whole spark joy movement. So I think it's right. If you're not sparking joy in someone, you're not giving them a delight moment. You're giving them an average experience.
Yeah.
And an average is the baseline. Average is the baseline. So where can we spark joy? And because it's what people get excited. It's what people want. We've all got emotion. It's what people remember. We talk about what we remember, and it will affect our decisions moving forward. And it's not even about I will spark joy because I want that person to come back. You feel good about it, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure those people who took the photos, we said, the photos of the teddy, probably will remember that all their lives. We had this teddy and we had to work out where to put the teddy near the swimming pool with a hat on and a drink to send to this girl to make her happy. I mean, how exciting would that have been?
Exactly.
For the staff. It would have been hugely exciting. We'd be like, do you put the teddy here? Do you put the teddy here?
Do we get my camera?
Do we have the camera? Yeah, it would have been a lot of fun.
Absolutely, yeah.
Cost nothing. Fun for them, huge. Delight for the little girl and delight for the family. You can imagine how many times they would have talked about that experience to their friends and they'll just remember it. And everyone will remember it forever.
Exactly.
Over a lost teddy. Teddy.
Yeah. Amazing, right?
It's fantastic.
How small things can have such a big impact.
Huge. Unbelievable. And it's what makes life fun.
Agree. Well, Jeffrey, thank you very much
Pleasure, Alicia,
for having this chat today.
It's been delightful.
It has been delightful.
It's
been a delightful experience. And I hope everyone watching online has taken some value from that as well, and that you can start implementing delight moments into how you deliver to your customers as well. So feel free to check out our other podcasts on our socials, any other newsletters that we push out.
They're all delightful.
They're all delightful. I agree with Jeffrey.
Absolutely.
Lovely having this chat,
Thank
and
you, Alicia.
we will see you next time.